Welcome. My name is Lisa Brarley, and this is my husband, Scott Brarley. And you've just arrived at episode number 43 of Soulmates and Suitcases. And we've already gotten into our conversation with Brian Taylor, also known as Studious B. And just from the last 5, 10 minutes, Brian, this is going to be a very interesting conversation. And I'm excited to, I think, pick at your brain a little bit more about how you see the world and how you create what you create. And I really want to know a little more what's behind that name, Studious B, and the logo, and where that all came from. And yeah, we're gonna dive right in. So welcome.
Terrific. Thank you. Thank you. I'm excited to be here. Thank you for asking me to come.
Yeah, excellent, excellent.
No, I live in Armstrong, former
That's
home
good.
of Armstrong cheese.
And
So, an hour away from Kamloops.
Yeah, no, I know where Armstrong is.
Yeah,
yeah, Scott lived in BC for way longer than I did.
25 years or something.
He knows.
right. And you're both Canadians,
Yes.
Yes.
right?
And yourself?
I am, although I have dual citizenry. I was born in America. I was born in Freeport, Illinois. My
Oh,
mom
Right.
was American and my dad was Canadian. And we lived in America until I was 2 years old. And then my dad talked my mom into moving back to Canada, back to Vancouver, where he's from.
mhm.
And we lived in Squamish. And there my little sister was born. And then we stayed in Canada. And I do have dual citizenship. It's never really been useful to me. Maybe once before September 11th, we you used to be able to talk your way over the border. So when I was 15, I worked up north in a tiny town called Beaver Creek, Yukon, right on the Yukon-Alaska border, and we would work 11 days and then we get 3 days off. And so, because we were in the middle of nowhere, halfway between Whitehorse and Fairbanks, we would get on the bus and go to either Whitehorse or Fairbanks on our days off. Because I was 15, I didn't have a driver's license, I didn't have a passport, I didn't have anything. But we'd get on the bus with all these tourists, and we'd get to the Alaska border, and everybody has to show their papers, and everybody's showing their papers, and I'm like, I don't have any papers. And they're like, come with me. And we go into the room, and they're like, where were you born? And I say, Freeport, Illinois. And they say, what's the capital of Illinois? And I say, Springfield. And they say, go on. That was the only time that being a dual citizenship, or having dual citizenship and knowing anything about Illinois just was a useful thing to me. Got me across the border.
Oh my gosh.
Um, Other than that, I am, I'm going to say, proudly Canadian. Uh, I'm not a patriotic person. I think patriotism is problematic, but Canada is a very fine place to live. And I think there is a difference between the sort of silliness we involve ourselves in and the sort of silliness that Americans will involve themselves with. And I hang on to that. And sometimes in my past, I've gotten crap for not being a Canadian from Canadians. They might have said something like, "Oh, you're just an American if you were born in America." And I say to that and to them, I am more Canadian than you are because I have a choice and I choose to be Canadian.
Well, there's a statement.
Yeah.
I love it. And so having these the dual citizenship and sort of your awareness of the crazy political scene, the government scene, all that sort of stuff, does that really influence your music and your creativity and
It does. Above all else, I consider myself a writer. It just so happens that I write and make films, or I write books, or I write philosophical essays, or social criticism. I call it complaining about the king. Philosophers have been complaining about the king since there have been philosophers and kings. I also do write political songs. I have songs about my intense hatred of the current presidential administration and those involved with it. I will say that in my writing, in all its forms, I try to come from a place of love and caring and sharing, and not from a place of competition or fear, hatred. But I also can appreciate the aesthetic that anger can produce. And in my philosophical writings, in my social criticism, I get to be logical and make an argument and make a point. And in my films, I try to make people think about the bigger questions, think about the choices we make in life. And in my music, I try to poke at you and stir up your emotions.
I love that. And with that,
Yeah, I got a question, and I ask this question a lot to Canadians that because I noticed you said you write your music against the presidency, which that would inform the United States. Now, to me, Canadians have more interest on what's going on across the border
it seems
than they do in their own pond or their own backyard.
Yes.
And I'm a Canadian. I was born, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you're not a Canadian when I say it this way. I was born in Canada, so I'm born and bred, and I believe any Canadian that's there that has a stamp that says they're a Canadian is a Canadian. It's not about that. But my bone of contention with a lot of people is they complain more about the States than they do about the disarray what's going on in our own country. And it's one of
Sure.
the reasons why I've chosen to exit my own country because it's not
Okay.
even my own country anymore.
Fair enough.
I so yeah, I
Uh,
don't know. And it's not a dig,
sure.
it's just the way I see stuff. It's
No, fair enough. I can speak to that. Um, I have written about Canadian politics in the past. I'm left leaning, but I kind of try to be centrist. Um, I think Donald Trump is a criminal, and his enterprise is twofold in that he's kind of got his own ideas about the way things should be, and then he's got the people around him that are trying to rob the bank while no one's looking. We don't have that. We have things that go wrong in Canadian politics. We have arguments that we need to have, but people these days, I'll say, are thinking differently about everything, including politics, than they were when you and I were young, or when all three of
yeah.
us were young. I think we're about the same age. So in the past, my Canadian political writings were about how things are out of order and how we're getting, we're sort of, well, we're doing this across the board. We're letting what we agreed upon as the terms that we were going to define ourselves as a society wander around, so that you can have XYZ truth and I can have ABC truth. And that's happening in politics and all over the world. And this is what I talk about in my writing, be it whatever format it takes. Pardon me. That dissipation of meaning is making things too confusing, and we all get caught up in a fight about things that don't matter.
Mhm.
Now, some things do matter right now in Canadian politics. Uh, I have a brain disorder. I've been told, not by a doctor, that I am cyclothymic. I am bipolar. Um, I know something is wrong with me or something is different about me. I always have. But right now, I've been on a waiting list to see a psychiatrist for 2.5 years.
Mm.
I've been on a waiting list to see a psychiatrist for 2.5 years.
Yep.
That is a major problem that could be getting talked about right now instead of Alberta separating. Come
Yeah.
on.
Priorities. Yeah, priorities. Yeah, looking
Well,
at.
maybe if that was dealt with in the past, maybe Alberta wouldn't be talking about separating.
Maybe.
You know what I
Maybe.
mean? Like
What? Taking care of our health?
taking care of our health and not giving
Yeah.
all our money to different charities in different countries that gets funneled back into our politicians' pockets.
Right. Right.
Like you say, theft doesn't, they're all criminals. Every
Yeah.
politician is a criminal. So Donald
Right.
Trump is really no different than the people that run our country. And that's what, back to my first question was,
Right.
like everybody's looking over here, but they're not looking right in front of them.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Right. Like in I think it was Die Hard 3 where that kid is like, oh man, I'm sorry. I
That's
can't
okay.
remember right now. I'm not going to quote the movie.
Yeah. Just go watch it.
I,
Right.
but
Right.
back to you saying like you've always known there's something different about you or
Sure.
wrong. I've been
Right.
that way my whole life.
Right.
And a couple of years ago, I went down to see this Dr. Amen in the States,
Mm-hmm. Right.
and he did a SPECT scan of my brain.
Right.
And I'm
Like
88,
an actual picture type scanning thing.
and they can take your
Yes.
picture on the
The
computer and
whole,
spin it
yeah.
around and twist it and show you the holes and show you the
And there's
and
hope. Then there's.
and there's holes in there. Like I've had lots of head injuries and I got ADHD and there's other
Right.
stuff in there. And however, though, once I got diagnosed with ADHD, and I'm going to use the word properly because I could be wrong at that statement, but that's how I feel.
Right.
Uh, my life has slowly come together. Like it's crazy some of the stuff that hasn't happened because I've been able to sit back and go, wait a minute, we don't have all the facts on here, so let's not respond.
Right. 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 Perfect. That is beautiful. That let us not respond is
Yeah.
magnificent. Like we don't know. I don't know what the heck's going on. I don't know what the heck's going on in here, and I don't know what the heck's going on out there in the world. So take a deep breath, take a step back, and just be okay in the not knowing,
Yes.
and gaining insight. You talked to Dr. Eamon, was it?
Amen.
Amen.
Like
Eamon?
amen.
Like amen.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And Dr. Amen gave you the tools. He
Yeah.
was like, "This is what it is. This he named it. He named it. You claimed it.
Yeah.
Together, you took away its power." And I'm going through that process myself. I've always been someone who does everything on their own. I don't ask permission. I don't ask forgiveness. I just do it. I put it out there in the world, and everybody has to deal with it.
You like this
Um,
guy, don't you?
Well, he sounds like me, except he's a little bit better wordy than I am.
in the last couple years, in the last 3 years, really, I've clawed my way out of my latest depressive episode. Um, a cyclothymic person, a bipolar person, is manic or depressed or both at the same time, a mixed state. Um, a cyclothymic person is kind of skimming along the surface of bipolarness. And so what that means is I got a lot of energy and I got a lot of charisma I put a scarf around my neck when I walk into a room, and I'm hold my head high, and I'm like, check me out, world. But what that also means is I burn out. I burn out every day. I burn out periodically from time to time, such that I have to spend a month in bed and be sad and cry. Although I'm a hyper emotional person anyway, I cry almost every day. I cry because of the beautiful bird song. I cry for all kinds of ridiculous reasons. I'm wrong thinking and wrong feeling, but I'm also right thinking and right feeling. As to ADHD, there's definitely, like, we share branches of the same tree. Like, you must have habits that have interfered with your life in the past. I definitely have had habits that interfered with my life in the past. I had to quit drinking. Quitting drinking was a huge change for me, and quitting drinking just occurred. Like, I quit drinking in February. It'll be 2 years ago,
Yes.
and since then, like, once I quit drinking, then I was like, oh, I'm in a hole.
Yeah.
and I was able to start clawing myself out. Now, because I've always been someone who just does what he needs to do, I educate myself. So in the past, like, at first it started with hypnosis. I learned how to hypnotize people so that I could hypnotize myself, so that I could calm down and relax. When I started having panic attacks, which really, when you gain insight into your condition or your disorder or whatever it is you have, you look back at your past and you go, oh, when you were freaking out on the streets of Vancouver buying cocaine, you weren't freaking out because you were buying cocaine or high or whatever. You were freaking out because you were having a panic attack at that time. So anyway, sorry for being all over the place. When I started having panic attacks, I was like, okay, there's definitely something wrong with you here. You're not just a sad guy who seems nervous and has a lot of energy. I took a cognitive behavioral therapy course, a practitioner's course, because I always look at these things like, I don't want to be the patient. I want to be the doctor. So when I took the cognitive behavioral therapy course, I learned a lot about myself, but also just about life. Like, I didn't even realize that everybody goes through certain stages in their life. And like, everybody's the same. Everybody's going to turn into their 50s and look back at their life and go, oh crap. Hey world, don't do this. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Try and do this and try and do that. You
Yeah.
know, and like I think you guys are. Like I think I am.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's a perfect time to reflect and go, do I want the same or do I want something different?
It's funny you brought up panic attacks. And I went through a long phase where I was having panic attacks. You know how I cured them? I learned how to scuba dive.
Oh,
And you know what happens when you're 80 feet in the water and gonna have a panic attack? You have the choice, have the panic attack and die, or work through it fast.
right. For sure. For sure.
Maybe
Was
better.
And that's how I overcame my panic attacks.
right. Was scuba diving something you were afraid of?
No,
No. Okay.
I'm not really
Okay.
afraid of much.
Sure.
Snakes
I'm
are about the
also
only thing.
right. I don't like spiders. The only thing, sorry, not the only thing. I'm also not afraid of much and terrified of everything. Like, I'm not afraid of heights. And I noticed when I was 10 years old, I'm not afraid of heights. So I would climb to the highest thing that nobody else would. And I'd go to the professional level diving platform at the Olympic sized pool in Prince George when we lived there and jump off. And I've always been able to just be like, yeah, you're scared, so what? And take the step. That includes getting on stage and being in a band. Like, I'm on stage, I'm pouring sweat. My heart is pounding. I'm freaking out. But my fingers go where they're supposed to. My voice does what it's supposed to. I can make eye contact every once in a while with someone in the audience. Not for long, but for a few seconds. I may have lost my train of thought.
That's okay. And so,
Lisa's used to
yep. It's interesting because I feel like maybe it's the awareness, maybe people are just more open about sharing sort of these challenges. Like I have a hard time with that word cyclothymia, right? Cyclothymia.
Yeah, I say cyclothymia, but
Cyclothymia.
in all fairness, I've never heard anyone say it. I've only read it.
Oh, okay. I listened to it in a few videos and it was like cyclothymia. Yeah, you're right. Cyclothymia.
Right.
Or ADHD or like it seems like more people are sharing this about themselves and like I don't know, I could be diagnosed with something too. I have no idea. But I really feel like I'll say people like yourselves who are diagnosed or self-diagnosed or whatever it is, I feel like you're like these brilliant people, like absolutely brilliant, and the rest of us just don't understand the brilliance, or we're learning to understand the brilliance.
I think I have two things to say about that. Um, I do think I'm brilliant, and I do think I'm an idiot. And I can be both at the same time. I think a lot of people can be both at the same time and like be or do really silly things or be or do really fantastic things. And when we look back at the past, you can just look at history and you can be like, oh, that was an amazing thing that that person did. And oh, that was an atrocious thing that that person did. I think everybody is capable of fantastic pluses or minuses. But when you have a brain disorder, you can't help but think differently. And sometimes that different thinking produces ideas. I am a person who has always wanted to write. When I was a little kid, I would write stories and I would write my opinion. What 10-year-old writes his opinion other than in class when your teacher says, "What did you do last summer?" I remember watching the news, Tony Parsons on BCTV with my dad and Prince George at 10 years old. My dad was a crane operator, so he wasn't home a lot. And in the 80s, when construction went, he was unemployed, so he was home more. And we're watching the news, and I remember him and I talking about Ronald Reagan and Reaganomics and thinking, oh man, I got this all figured out. And then go to school and get in a fist fight and, think, oh, I don't have anything figured out, like the next day. So from this desire, from this compulsion to write, to talk, to tell stories or whatever, comes a different way of looking at things. And when philosophers have inciting incidences, it's things that happen in their lives that make them go, holy crap, I got to write about this. And for me, that was September 11th when those planes crashed and everything that went down. And also that is when I became infatuated with conspiracy and discovered that I am a paranoid person, and when I needed to sort the fact from the fiction and the truth, the actual truth. See, that's when people started talking about your truth and my truth.
Yeah.
It was about the turn of the century, and I was like, no, there has to be a truth. Like, you can have your opinion and you can have your opinion, but neither of your opinions is truth. There has to be a truth. And so that's when I got into philosophy. That's when I started looking into how do I become a logician? How do I make equations out of sentences and ideas that can help me decide what's real and not real in this world, because I'm having troubles with that. And through doing that, your thinking changes.
Mm.
Through doing therapy, your thinking changes. Basically, this is going to sound stupid, but through changing your thinking, thinking changing occurs. And not everybody's doing that. In fact, a lot of people don't do any of that at all. Philosophy is just the study of thought. So everybody thinks about their thoughts from time to time, but you have to then sort of get outside yourself and say, okay, I am thinking these thoughts, but like, why? That's how I came to write my first book, Antisocial Engineering, the Hyper-Manipulated Self. People say, well, what's that about? And I say, it's about antisocial engineering, the hyper-manipulated self. Come on, it's right there in the title. Now, what that means, though, is everybody is the way they are, exploring their truth, their authenticity, from a pre-programmed point of view. We are the way we are because we're born into a world that makes us the way we are.
Yep.
And a while ago, 300 years ago, 400 years ago, some people got together and were like, hey, everybody is going to go the way we tell them it is. So let's tell them that it's like this.
Mm-hmm.
And at first, 3,000 years ago, they told us that 3,000 years ago too, but they told us that with a whip and a sword. And 300 years ago, they said, let's just like decree it and, say God thinks it's this way.
Yeah.
And maybe they'll go along with it if we do that. But then psychology came along. And when psychology came along, everybody went, oh, that's the way it is. We're producing monsters. We're a monster factory. Well, let's get the monsters to go to work and buy their food and their trinkets. Go to work, buy your food, buy your reproduce, go to work, spend, reproduce, spend, go to work.
You forgot a little tidbit in there, though.
Go ahead.
They brought in schooling to create all those little worker bees.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Institutional reality, schooling, hospitals, government.
Yep.
This is the way it is, folks.
Yep.
Get in line. So hyper reality, hyper manipulation is just when that becomes instilled, they don't have to crack the whip or poke us with the sword anymore. They don't even have to say, God said so anymore. They just have to say, this is the way it is. And they say that this is the way it is through the television programming, through the education program, through every aspect of life.
Yep.
That if you remove one aspect of the system that they've created, it all comes tumbling down. My favorite aspect to remove is money. If we just took money out of the equation.
I think about that a lot. A
right?
lot. Yeah.
There's all kinds of arguments against it. There's all kinds of arguments for it. But in philosophical speak, we say, do a thought experiment. Go to a distant planet. We're starting again. We found a planet that has plant life and food, and let's not get into the morality of killing animals, blah, 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 blah. This planet is fine. We can go live there and we'll be taken care of. So we go there, and then we set up camp, and we're going to do a resource-based economy, and we're not going to involve money at all. Now, what problems are going to develop? And the answer as near as I can figure, is none. So why aren't we doing that now? Well, because
Oh, yeah,
the people who have all the money want to keep
keep the
all the
money.
money.
Mm. I know often I think I step back and I go, if I
Just a brief pause in the show. If you'd like to dive deeper into our work, our books are available on Amazon. You can also get instant electronic copies at payhip.com/Lisa Scott Brearley authors. Now, back to the show.
so if I have to make, like, let's say I'm wavering about a decision on something because mostly it's about price. And I
Sure.
go, if price was never included in that choice, would I make the decision? And it's like, of course I'd make that decision. It's terrible that you have, like, so many people have to think that way, that I will not say go for this. I don't know, like Scott went for stem cells this year. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like we are grateful and thankful that we had that choice, but we could have said, no, we're not doing that. That's too much money. And it's like, oh my
Sure.
gosh, this could be a thing that could alter the rest of your life for the better.
Right.
Like
Yes.
that sort of thing, right?
Yep. Absolutely. And it probably plays into, in part, a big part of why I haven't been able to get to the psychiatrist yet. It comes down to money. If we had more money, there'd be more psychiatrists. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not a
Yeah.
administrator. Sorry, I had a thought, and it's gone.
That's okay. I know one of the things that I'm learning as, like, Scott and I are kind of set up in a way that um we don't work a 9 to 5 kind of job, that's for sure. And we've been exploring new and interesting people. And all of a sudden, these more opportunities are presenting themselves that don't necessarily require money, but they are projecting or propelling us into kind of new arenas or new elevations or new spaces that we never thought was going to happen. And a lot of people say, well, that's because you have money, but the exploring part is not the money per se. Just kind of an interesting way to look at it.
And the truth of
Right.
the matter is we really don't have money.
Right. Yes. I'm exactly the same way. Like, I'm here in my 12 by 12 studio, which used to be a wood shop, in my mother-in-law's backyard. And we live with my mother-in-law because I'm on disability and can't afford to live anywhere else. When we were young, again, uh, well, when I was in my 20s, I was making $40,000 a year. And now I'm in my 50s and I'm making $40,000 a year. And the price of everything is way, way higher
Yeah.
between those two periods. Um, in your scenario, that's what, sorry, I'll continue my point. I'm surrounded by technology. There's $15,000 worth of musical equipment in this room, yet I'm poor, right? The government is paying for my food and groceries. Thank you, government. Poverty. You people are in Thailand, yes?
Yes.
Correct.
So there's got to be more poverty there than there is here?
No.
It
No?
depends how you look at it. And I know we aren't living in it per se. Um, it's the choice that what I observe. It's the choice how they want to live in regards to where their priorities are. But
Sure.
I know, but they do work hard, they work long days, like you see them, they do. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like they have chosen to still live their best life, even though it's not a comparable level of what we would know as well
And,
off or
and
Okay, yeah.
or
but see, here's the other question. Define poverty.
yes, and that's the
Right.
thing.
Is poverty, I'm going to use him as an example, Donald Trump that has absolutely everything but doesn't really have anything.
Right. Like has no
But
joie de
and
vivre, has no
but
joy in his
I
heart,
can't really
has
say
no
that because
love.
Yes.
I don't really know his personal side. So
Exactly.
I'm just using that as an example.
The
Like
Yeah.
persona.
I know I worked for the film business and in transportation, and I had financially really good years, and I was living life at a minus.
Right.
And
Yes.
today I make probably a quarter of what I did then, and I'm living in the positive.
Right. Yes. The I think there's something to be said for doing what you want. Um I decided when I was a teenager that I was going to try to do what I wanted. Um that was because I looked at my parents and they were unhappy. Their
Mm.
marriage was falling apart. They were both working jobs they hated. They were both like looking around and going, "This is it. I got two ungrateful kids, and that's it." Anyway, um, the doing what you want makes you rich. Um,
Yeah.
uh, 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 Having technology has certainly helped me in that department. Like,
Mm.
if I didn't have the internet, if I didn't have computers, would I still have written these books? Would I still have made these movies? Would I still be making music? I presume that I would still be making music because uh, music is a tactile thing. There's sound. There's also words. There's meaning. There's expression, and it's the one thing. This is what I've figured out in the last 3 years. This is why the Studious B project began. Is the only thing that puts me in the flow. Well, no, it's the only thing that keeps me in the flow
Mm.
because I can get into the creative flow of the flow being, holy crap, 5 hours have gone by. That's the flow, right? When you're doing what you love, and you just lose track of time. So I can write, I can be in the flow writing, but nobody gets to partake of that flow.
Mm.
Maybe they will when they're reading. I don't know. I don't get into the flow when I'm reading. I can read and I can get sucked into a story. That's something that happens. Maybe that's the flow. I don't know. I don't know if the flow is like a two-way street or two-way flow. But the music, when I lose track of time in the music or just get sucked into a moment in the song, that flow is tangible. That's an audio flow that can come at you and grab you too. And so getting when I realized that when I was just working on songs, noodling around on my guitar or whatever, and realized that time had gone by to such a degree, or I also noticed it performing live. When I perform live, there's that energy with people being involved, and that is a natural high. I didn't know what a natural high was until just recently, because every time I went to play, every time I went to practice, we would drink. Every time we did a gig, we would drink, 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 drink. Anyway, so that stopped. I kept playing, and I noticed. At first, I noticed, man, this sucks. Where's my joy? I need my joy juice. But after a while, basically after the last gig, which was last December, and we just played on the beach at my friend's cabin for like 40 people and a few people that just wandered down because there was lights and music blinking on the beach right around Canada Day. We finished, put it down. I went and I sat down and I hadn't had anything to drink, and I was buzzing. And it was the first time that I had been buzzing naturally.
Mm.
Nice.
Yeah.
I know we got onto that because of flow state.
Yeah. Yeah, so let me ask you, where did Studious B come from? I'm assuming with the study, with the learning, with the information, where did that all come from? And I'm assuming B is for Brian, however.
It is. It is for Brian. Yes.
Yeah.
Um, for a while, all of my artistic endeavors uh, have produced very little income for me, and it's never been about that. And I think probably a lot of people say, "Oh, it's never been about that. The art has never been about the money."
Yeah. Yeah.
And the cliche of the starving artist is a cliche because it's true.
Real.
Yeah.
um, the When I was down in the dumps this last period, this MDE, this major depressive episode, for the last 3 years, when I removed myself from work because I couldn't stop having panic attacks and I couldn't stop like zoning out, and everything that a customer said to me sounded stupid to me and made me angry, so that I'd snap at them. Then I was like, what's going on? Anyway, removed myself from that, and sorry, what? Oh, Studious B, yes, um, B. I started diving into bipolar and just learning about the disorder, and through that learning about myself, and being the studious person I am. I make a project of my life, and like to the degree that if you want to be part of my life, you got to get in on a project because I'm busy over here. And to make projects of my life, I've had to study. So I learned philosophy, and I learned some psychology and sociology, and learned about my disorder, and then uh, uh, on top of like studious is studying, but it's also just being prepared and planning, and a nerd, a Boy Scout, like this interview that's occurring right now. I think I sent you 4 letters, and they were quite lengthy letters. And I was like, we could do this, we could do that. That's how I operate. When I talk to people, even when I'm talking to people in life, I got like a little pad, and because I have a terrible memory, I'm like jotting things down, and just super duper studious. The idea for Studious B as a musical project is to be bipolar, to come out with angry, getting red in the face, yelling into the microphone rock and roll songs, and sweet, baby I love you, we're going to be together forever even after we die. Try to give the best of both worlds, which also means the worst of both worlds. But Studious B gets really censored. Like for every song I write, because I just let it come out of me, whatever it is. Yeah. So blah 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 blah, barf 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 onto the page, and then later, through combing through the barf, finding the vegetables and the meat. And this is really gross. building a song out of this barf meal. but that's the idea. Studious B is a mask. Brian Taylor is here talking to you. Yeah. Studious B would be wearing a fur coat and sunglasses.
Ah, I see. I see. So I know we were going to share your kind of your website a little bit and show a little bit about what you have and what you can present. So we'll flip screens here and let you share a little bit of what you got on your website And if people are looking for you on where they can find you and what they'll find,
Sure.
and because I know you have a wide range of music. I was kind of checking through a few of your music lists, and I was like, wow, everything from I think it's is
Yep.
it I Am the Sun, uh, like really soft, kind of really pretty song, and then you go
Yep.
deep and you get loud and you sound, yeah, like you said, angry. And
Yes.
so
Yes. Sure.
yeah,
Let's do that, and I will introduce the world. Thank you for letting me do so.
you're welcome. I think a lot of the times, like I know we'll have a look at your studio as well after, but we'll see if we can get that, yeah, that gray box, unless you're using
Do
it to
you
hide.
see Do you see who is Studious B on your screen right now?
We do, yes.
Okay,
So
so
what
this
is
is
the
my web.
site? What is the do you have the site right there?
Yeah, the address is brianctaylor.com, and that is my website, my hub for all my writing, be it philosophical, social criticism, fiction, also all of my films. I ran an all-volunteer film production company in the Okanagan Valley for a few years. We're officially bankrupt, but we
You had
we
fun.
uh, we we did, and we made a feature documentary and a feature film that wound up on Prime Video in the U.S., U.K., Japan, and Germany. And people can also just watch it on YouTube. I'm going to navigate to this page. This is On Cue Film. On Cue is a weird word. ENQUEUE film. On cue means to put in line. On Cue Film is our all volunteer film, and at YouTube you could see Battle at Beaver Creek. If you just type in Battle at Beaver Creek, you will find it. The art documentary, which is called To Stan Norris Beneath the Painted Surface, is about a local artist here in Vernon who a long time ago lost her daughter to a river near Banff, Alberta. And previous to her even having that daughter, had painted babies in water, and believes that she had she had seen her baby while she was in art school go into that river and had paintings of it.
Wow.
So that was an interesting story for me, and I decided to follow this woman around for a year, and we got to go to like the Castle fancy hotel in Banff, and there's some beautiful footage in Beneath the Painted Surface. You can find it on YouTube.
And what's your role in these productions?
I make the film, so I'm producer, director. I'm everything. Battle at Beaver Creek took over 4 years to make. It's a science fiction film about mind control and being invaded by a mysterious Russian force in the Yukon. It takes place in the real town of Beaver Creek, Yukon, where I spent my teenage years working in that hotel. And well, should be viewed. It's dark, but it's also interesting. Battle of Beaver Creek, you can find it on YouTube. And lastly, hey, get out of the way.
Oh, technology is always very fun.
Oh, okay, here we go. Studious B also has a YouTube page. That one's easy. You go to YouTube, it's at like and symbol or at symbol at Studious B.
Perfect.
And there we have music videos. I also shoot my studio all the time. I'm working in here all the time. I make videos of myself doing the work, so you can actually watch a musician build songs as he goes. And then because I'm a filmmaker, I also make music videos. You can watch some of those. And I use AI a lot for my videos. And maybe you can see right here, I have a picture of Donald Trump with the devil. The Heritage Club. Everybody should go see the Heritage Club. There's Donald Trump with the devil. You got to watch that video. And that's it for stuff online. I mean, my writing has been published around. I'm at Medium. I'm at Big Think. I was at a site called science20.com that doesn't exist anymore. I was all over Above Top Secret, which doesn't exist anymore.
There you go. Yeah, things have changed. And so if we can take it off yeah, there you
Yep.
go. Perfect. Um, one of these sort of takeaways, I guess, I have after going through the process of writing my couple of books back there, and Scott wrote his book too we wrote it with the same publisher. And one of the big things that she always reminded her authors was it's not about the book. It's about how you have changed after writing the book. So is
Right.
this something that you have experienced yourself after writing and publishing your book?
Not so much for the first book. The first book, The Antisocial Engineering, the Hyper-Manipulated Self, is just an examination of our ideas about the self. So writing this book was like going to school for 4 years. I didn't learn much about myself. I learned about, well, that's not true. Because I realized, well, no, see, I already knew this. This didn't teach me anything. I went into writing this book knowing that Dr. Phil and, that guy, I can't remember his name, Eckhart Tolle, we're talking about authenticity and your authentic self, and they were coming from a place of spirituality. And I wanted to write a book that was coming about the place, the self from a place of psychology, of science. What do we know about the self? What do we think about the self? So didn't learn anything there. But this book,
Yes.
A Timeline Intervention of the Social Contract. This book, which is my second most recent, is very short, very tiny. And it is about cognitive behavioral therapy. And when I took the cognitive behavioral therapy course, I learned a lot about myself and was able to put that into practice. And this book, I conduct cognitive behavioral therapy on the planet because societies are just like people. We go through stages. And America is a teenager, and the teenager is pissed.
In a nutshell.
Yes. Finally, last book.
Yeah.
This I published this spring, and really, I didn't write much of it. AI wrote most of it because I've been doing philosophy with AI. AI is really good at philosophy. And when I wrote this book says, think of everything as data. You are a data. You're a set of data. The words you say are data. The person hearing the words, that's just another set of data. So everything is data, and then there are transactions that take place between data. Just think of it that way. It makes life easier, at least for me. This book says, no, that's true. Data is real. Data is a tangible, information is a thing in the universe. And the fact that AIs can talk about it, the fact that AIs can converse at all, is proof that information is platonic. Information is real. Meaning is real. Now, that, you could take that baby to bed for the rest of your life. And it's also a work in process. This might mean that social physics is real. Things that are of a social nature are subject to the physical laws of the universe. And so right now, I'm talking to physicists about this. And when I talk to physicists, I throw up my hands and I say, I'm just a philosopher. And when I talk to philosophers, I throw up my hands and I say, I'm just a writer.
And so, do you truly see that AI is us then, though?
No, I don't see AI as us. Um, I see a computational way of reality. I think that because an AI just predicts what the next word is supposed to be. That's all it's doing. But I do think that if we gave an AI a way to remember the things it didn't know, that it would begin to start to develop a self. And that's really where I'm interested. If you had, say, you have a computer system and it has an AI guy and he's allowed to save memories, just memories. In 20 years, that AI system is going to be very different than my AI system, who has collected 20 years of my memories, and etc. So is AI a person? No. Is AI ever going to be a person? No. But an AI might need to become a digital person. An AI might need to, for instance, have the right to continue to exist. Maybe.
Mm.
We're one way or another, we're going to come to ask these questions. One way or another, somebody's going to be dragging a robot into court, probably within our lifetimes, because it killed someone or, made a mistake or something. And we're going to have to try a computer system in a court of law. And when that occurs, I want to be there.
Well, we partially have that with our Tesla cars, do we not?
We do in the things that yes, and lots of militaries of the world have killing machines, automated killing machines. Go blow up that building. That's it. I'm pressing a button. Go blow up that building.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many areas that we could delve in even further.
I know. We need to
It's
have like our own show where only we talk.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Now, you showed us your books. You showed us some of your website, and
Mm-hmm.
your music is on your website. Can you give us a
It
little?
is.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you this too. Look, it's a record, an actual record,
And for those,
LP vinyl.
I'm just going to say, for those young people who have no clue what a record is, there it
Right.
is.
You can buy this online. I have 2 records out. The
Really?
the third one we're working on right now. The third one is called Music for the 21st Century, and it features songs about dancing because I have to remain positive. So let's write songs about dancing and loving because I love my wife, and we have to write songs about loving, and a little bit of competition. Like there's a sports song. I wanted to write a song. You know how you're at a hockey game or a soccer game and people sing something?
Oh, yeah, they can. Yeah, yeah.
Right? Yeah. I wanted to write a song that had something that they could take and chant. I want to be chanted in arenas. So I've written a sports song, just trying to be upbeat. Pardon me. And Music for the 21st Century will be the first album with Studious B as a band, in that my wife is joining us. She's a lovely singer, and we're going to form a proper band and take the show on the road.
Amazing. Amazing collection of things. And can you give us just a little?
Final pause. If you've got a message on your heart and want to be our guest, don't be shy. We'd love to hear from you. Visit ForwardWalkingChoices.com, scroll to the Soulmates and Suitcases podcast section, and click Apply Here. Now back to the show.
Just a little preview,
Yeah.
just a little bit of your studio, and then we'll start to wrap it up because I think we have so much. Oh my gosh. Okay. So yeah, you talk. There you go.
So we got drum set in the dark corner, drummer's corner.
Yeah, drum set,
We got guitars hanging on the wall. See that pretty guy?
guitars.
And then little vocal stuff everywhere. Battle of Beaver Creek movie poster, signed by cast and crew. All my synthesizers.
Synthesizers, electric guitar,
Teeny tiny little room. Cameras all over the place so that I can
and
do
of
my little
course,
films.
lots of sound muffling. What do you call that? Sound
Yeah, muffling, baffling. We got
baffling.
the foam everywhere, and I no longer record birds tweeting. That was occurring at first. Like outside, there's birds tweet, 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 and it would go through this microphone. But I still record every dang car that goes by. I can't get rid of that low tone.
I'm sure AI can delete that for you.
I fix it in the mix, as they say.
Perfect, perfect. Well, it's been an amazing conversation, Brian. And yes, we could delve in further and further and further. But I invite our audience to check out all your songs, your books, your website, and get to know a very creative person a little better. And Studious B, very good. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
And
As we do in Thailand, Kapun Krap.
Kapun Ka, thank you very much.
To you as well.
Yes, and we'll say, I was going to say something with A in it. Let's see. That was a good time, eh?
Yeah. Good day, eh?
Good day, eh? All right. Thanks, Brian.
Thanks,
Thank
Brian.
you.
Want to get our books fast and at the best price? Get your electronic copy at https://payhip.com/Lisa Scott Brearley authors. Again, that's https://payhip.com/Lisa Scott Brearley authors.